Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you guys my Chrysalis neo-spacian Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for September 2018. After working a lot with the neo-spacians with the new support from the 2018 Megatins, I was really focused on just all the different things you could do with the neo-spacian cards, and a lot of them have been reprinted lately. But one that's have actually been overlooked are the Chrysalis cards, which were cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX that basically helped with summoning out the neo-spacians, and they were given a bunch of different Cocoon cards as well to work with them. So I thought it'd be fun just to make a deck that's focused all around the Chrysalis cards and getting out the neo-spacians for each respective one as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for those of you that don't know, the Chrysalis cards are the baby versions of the neo-spacians, and by tributing them while Neospace is on the field, you can special summon one neo-spacian monster with each respective Chrysalis. So I run one Dolphin, one Larva, one Penny, and one Pantail for the one-ups. For each one, they get out Aqua Dolphin, Flare Scarab, Glow Moss, and Dark Panther. These are the one-ups that I run just because I run one respective of each one. So basically, if you tribute the one while the Neospace is on the field, you can then special summon out that counterpart and then pretty much have that taken care of. But what's great about these cards is that they also work together with other cards in the deck, whether it be through the graveyard or just other special summon tactics as well. And then for the two-ofs, I run two Chrysalis Mole. I run bumped up versions of Mole and Chicky because they are basically ran more versions of their neo-spacians in this deck. So I thought with more numbers, easier to grab and then go out for those ones, just because I like to use Air Hummingbird and Grand Mole effects the most out of all the neo-spacians, so that's why I decided to bump up the Chrysalis numbers for those ones as well. But they share the same effects, tribute them out to get Grand Mole, and then also with Chicky, to get out Air Hummingbird. So these are just the bumped up version numbers for these ones that I decided to run in the deck. And then for the neo-spacian monsters, I run basically the counterpart numbers to the neo-spacians for the Chrysalis cards on the field. So two Grand Mole, just with the return effect. I found it the best one to make use of fully, and as I stated in my neo-spacian deck profile, you can also obviously bounce Grand Mole back to your hand, then use Convert Contact for that draw power if you have it, which there's a lot of good draw power to make use of in this deck as well, so remember that. And then, like I also said, I only run two Air Hummingbird in this, just because we're not going for the Neos fusions with this deck, but you want to make full use of all the Neo-spacians. So having three copies of Air Hummingbird, I think, would put too much focus on that card alone. Plus, with Chicky being in the deck, you just have easier access to grabbing this card. If you run three, if you open up too many of this card, then Chicky late game, you can't really do too much else with the Chicky if you already have the Air Hummingbird on the field or in the graveyard to make use of. And then for some of the one-ofs, like I stated before, Flare Scarab, just for the spell bounce, not spell bounce, the boost up power when you can. Glow Moss for the draw effects for stall against your opponent. Aqua Dolphin definitely does come in handy because you can basically take care of cards in your opponent's hand with this one, just for a little life point cost. And Dark Panther being able to copy your opponent's monster effects definitely made him a contender for a two-of, which if I were to do that, I might switch around some of the numbers, or if you didn't want to run all six of the neo-spacians and Chrysalis cards, you could maybe consider taking out one-ofs and then just putting in an additional of the Pantail, and then taking out one of the Chrysalis and then one of the other neo-spacians that you didn't run a one if you wanted to run more than one Panther. And then for just the additional backups, I wanted to run two just slurring all so bad today, Neo-Space Pathfinder, mostly because this card searches out Neo-Space. All you have to do is discard this card to the graveyard to add one Neo-Space from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So I run this just so I can also recycle the Neo-Space. So if I open up the Neo-Space and activate it, and then my opponent, let's say, destroys it, I can have the Pathfinder discard to search either from the deck or graveyard back to my hand, so I can make full use of the two copies of the Neo-Space that I run when we get to that card. Plus, it is also a warrior monster, so you can use Reinforcements of the Army to search out this card, then use this to search out the field spell. Just one long chain of search, which definitely does come in handy, but I only had the one Pathfinder, sadly, so proxying in the one Terraforming for now, but would definitely prefer to run two Pathfinder over it all. Plus, it's got the 1800 attack, so if you need to summon a monster, you can summon it out. One thing you can't do with the Terraforming, obviously. And then to finish off, for the extra assists for the monsters, 2 Mathematician. This card is just in here for sending the Chrysalis to the graveyard, because they definitely do come in handy when they're in the graveyard for cards like Cocoon Rebirth or Cocoon Party. So having Mathematician to rely on to send them to the graveyard, then get extra special summons, just means you can have this card on the field, and then an additional one, then you can use it for a link summon, or you can save Mathematician on the field. If it's destroyed, get some draw power off as well. Your preference when it comes to this card. And then the same goes for the last of the monsters, 2 Junk Synchron. This is in here just so you can, reborn your level 2 or lower monsters in the graveyard. And their effects are negated, but being able to summon them back means you have more extra deck options available to you. And all the Chrysalis monsters are level 2, so you can grab access to any of them as well. And with Junk Synchron being a dark, if you go for Pantail, you just can go for basically Wee Witch, which is an easy link to make use of as well. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 2 Neo-Space. Now, I only run 2 of this card just because I felt 3 was a little cloggy, and the fact that I went over the Pathfinder play before, where you can recycle from the graveyard and search from the deck. It's just very handy in total, and not necessary to run any more of this card, because like I said, if you have the Neo-Space and the Pathfinder is in your hand, then you basically don't have to worry about sending it for the cost. You could just normal summon onto the field, but this is needed so you can get the tribute off for your Chrysalis monsters, because Neo-Space has to be on the field to get the special summon off for all of your Chrysalis Cocoon monsters. And I also run 3 Cocoon Party. This is a very important card in the deck, just because you special summon 1 Chrysalis monster from your deck for each neo-spacian monster with a different name in your graveyard. So being able to just spam out a bunch of Chrysalis means if you, just easily mill through a bunch of the neo-spacians early game, but still have plenty of the Cocoons in your deck, you can then get easy special summon, which gives you options to do plenty of plays in your extra deck as well, depending on how many Chrysalis monsters you manage to get out with Cocoon Party. It's just very helpful for sure, and the fact that you're not limited to how many Cocoon Parties you can play in one turn definitely does help as well. And I also run 3 Space Gift. This is just, you draw 1 card for each neo-spacian monster you control with a different name. So it's just draw power in a sense as well. And remember also with the Cocoon Party, if you have the varying neo-spacians still in your deck as well, and neo-space is on the field, being able to get those cocoons out, then tribute out the neo-space monsters with their own effects, and then after the deck has been milled through so many heroes, use Space Gift to basically draw additional cards. Definitely does come in handy. Same goes for Convert Contact. With this one, if you control no monsters, you send 2 neo-spacian monsters from your hand and 1 from the deck to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. There's just so much draw power and special summon with the 3 of spells that we're running that you should have no problem drawing what you need just to get out the Field Swarm, which is the main purpose of the Chrysalis deck in total. Get out a lot of monsters and then make use of your extra deck. And I also run 1 Cocoon Rebirth, a continuous spell card. You can tribute 1 face-up Chrysalis monster you control to special summon 1 neo-spacian monster in the card from either player's graveyard. So it's just the best way to make use of cards in your graveyard for special summons, because Cocoon Party grabs from the deck, obviously, but then you obviously also want to have resources to grab the Cocoon's counterparts from the graveyard to special summon, and that's where Rebirth comes in handy. I've tried some different numbers as well, maybe 2 Rebirths and then 2 Cocoon Parties, but I found that 1, just because Cocoon Party is a little more faster for the special summon, since this only, gives you the 1 at a time, while the Cocoon Party all come out at once. And I also run 2 Transmodify. Now this comes in handy when I don't have access to the Neo-Space, but I still want options to go into monsters, just being able to go up a notch with the Chrysalis monster on the field, and then I don't have to go for the respective neo-spacian monster in counterpart for the Chrysalis monster. Just makes Transmodify all the better, and that contrasting different name also helps with cards like Cocoon Party, because you need the different named ones to special out different ones as well, and if they're different named, that means you still have the original counterpart most likely in the deck, meaning you can special summon it off of a different Cocoon later on. And then just for a final one-ofs of the spells, Reinforcements of the Army. Already talked about Pathfinder in this card because of the fact that you can search out Pathfinder with this card, then ditch it for Neo-Space. Is just way too good mill power. You can also search out Aqua Dolphin if you want to with this, if you want or need some draw options for the Convert Contact. and also 1 Foolish Burial. This just sends what you need to the graveyard depending on for what play you want to go for. And also 1 Soul Charge and 1 Monster Reborn, just additional special summon with the life point gain stated in my hero deck profile for the neo-spacians. Soul Charge with Air Hummingbird just helps because you gain so much life, especially turn 1. If you can go through the graveyard fast as well, your life points being dwindled down too low won't be that big of a problem. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. For the Exceed monsters, I was basically divided between how many rank 3s and rank 2s I wanted to run. If you want to run more rank 2s, you can obviously just take out the rank 3s, but I have Sky Cavalry Centauria in the deck for the rank 2 plays if you need to go for it. Just a very powerful, rank 2 Exceed monster. But most of the time, if you have, level 2s on the field, it means you should almost always have access to the Neo-Space to get out the rank 3s with the level 3 monsters you can special summon out, just meaning that I think rank 3s are more viable for the deck in total. So the rank 3s I run are 1 Dante. Dante's just there to help with, the milling of monsters to the graveyard to make use of. Very helpful, but not always the main rank 3 I go for. Most of the time I just use Break Sword, Acid Golem, Super Quantal, Mech Grandpulse, and Leviair for your big rank 3 plays. And then for the Link monsters, I run 1 Underclock Taker. You just have so many generic options with all the different Neo-Spacians you run. So you want as many different ones to go into. So also 1 Decode Talker, 1 Borreload, 1 Boral Guard, and 1 Topologic Bomber Dragon for your big Link monster plays. And then I run the Wee Witch Apprentice just because of the junk synchron with Pantail, meaning you have the 2 dark options available to you to go into an easy arrowed Link monster. And then also 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and 1 Proxy Dragon, just for some easier Link 2 plays as well. If you want to run in Nightmare Phoenix, you can, not Phoenix, I think it is either Unicorn or Pegasus. You can take out the Proxy Dragon and put in the Link 3 Nightmare Monster as well, which is Pegasus. So you can, actually no, I think I actually messed up with that. I think it's Nightmare Griffin, but my apologies about that. But the Link 3 Nightmare, just for additional shuffle back powers as well with this deck. But yeah, that is it for the deck profile. Like I said, I've been having a lot of fun just, mixing around and playing with a bunch of the different Neo-Spacian monsters and what they can do. So I wanted to bring you guys a Chrysalis version to fully maximize the Neo-Spacians as a whole with their baby counterparts. But once again, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, Kira Twig out.